When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliat with the sister sauce.
Hello, everybody. I am Tina Gilliat, and I'm here with my sister Priscilla Babin and my nibbling Clover Babin. And we're so excited to join you for episode 47 of the Sister Sauce. Yay!
Oh, we're getting close to 50. That's
Yeah.
cool. It's a celebration.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Oh, well, we could wait till 52 and that would be 1 year old. And we could have a first
1 year
birthday.
old.
1 year old. Yeah. So Priscilla, tell everybody what your cup is that you're drinking.
Oh, my cup has us on it.
Oh,
Isn't that pretty? That's one of my favorite pictures of us.
I know, me too.
Hope everybody can
That's
see
the one
it.
I printed and put on Mom's.
Show me the other side. It's on our website, I think.
Yeah, it is.
It says family is forever, and the other side says Sensei sisters are friends for life.
Oh, that was
It's
sweet.
empty because I
gave
drank
that
all
to
my
you.
coffee.
Yeah, I'm working on my third cup of coffee.
Clover has Hogwarts.
Oh, I love it.
Hedwig. It's Hedwig. Hedwig. Yeah. Delivering the letter. Oh. The key.
Clover, tell everybody what you're involved in right now.
What am I?
Your play?
Oh, SpongeBob, the musical.
Right.
Junior. The musical. I'm gonna play Karen Plankton. Her last name is Plankton, which I was shocked to find out.
Yeah, that was weird.
It is weird because I knew that Plankton's first name was Sheldon, but I completely disregarded the fact that because they're married, her last name would be Plankton, so her name is Karen Plankton, which I don't know how I feel about that. So what's her name?
But you're not going to be a Karen.
No.
You're going to be Karen.
She's a little judgy, but yeah, mostly against Sheldon.
Sheldon. I love the way you said that.
I gotta practice my voice.
Yeah.
Her wiki says she has a heavy Midwestern accent.
Ooh.
Gotta figure it out.
Oh, I'm sure it'll come to you and you'll do an amazing job. We can't wait.
Mm-hmm. We decided it might sound a little bit like Chapel Roan, but
yeah, I didn't know she had an accent. And then the other day I was watching an interview with her and she said all of the drag queens. And I went, all? It's great.
That's awesome.
Don't you know?
Priscilla, you have some hot sauce for us, I'm sure.
I do. I have some hot sauce. So of course, I get most of my hot sauce and my marinades from Instagram because you find these little gems, these little nuggets, right? But this one comes from and I don't know if this is just something that I don't know if they created this Instagram or if it's something they shared because people can copy other people's stuff and use it. And I'm not actually sure 100% how to pronounce this person's username. It's Divya Divvya .cars KAUUR.GILL. So I don't know how you pronounce that, but that's their username. And the video that they shared, the reel, I guess, or whatever that they shared, shows a guy with a bicycle, and his bicycle has square wheels, if that makes any sense. The wheels are square, and of course he's on the bicycle trying to pedal and he can't go anywhere. And then they show him on this surface that's sort of a humped surface. It looks like a bunch of bumps. And there's a different guy with a regular bicycle on this surface that's these like half circles going along, and kind of like one of those craft scissors,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's on there, and his
round normal wheeled bicycle will not roll on it. But then the guy with the square wheeled bicycle gets on there and he can roll just fine. And so what it says is that your child, if you're thinking about kids this way, your child might sometimes feel stuck, different, overwhelmed, helpless. And it says, remind them they are not the problem. They just need to be on the right path. So let that sink in a little bit. So what works for one person might not work for the other person especially in terms of learning. But it could be, a lot of different things. One person's diet doesn't work for another person, So you can't, judge people's methods and say, you need to do it like I do it,
Yes, I agree.
because that's, and especially with learning, with young kids, especially when you try and teach a student who is, neurodivergent the same way you would teach a student who's neurotypical. It doesn't really work as well. And sometimes kids who are neurodivergent, maybe they have autism, maybe they have ADHD, whatever, they might be high functioning and they might be able to push themselves to succeed in a normal environment. But they also might come off as, being a bad kid or, and it's not that. It's just that their brains are different and they need a different path to be on, a different structure, right?
Mhm. I have a couple experiences where I'll have a teacher who is, set on a certain teaching style. And I am either I have the perfect example. So last year, I had one teacher whose teaching style was very interactive, rarely did like slideshows or anything. And when she did do slideshows, she didn't make us write notes or anything. She said, you're welcome to, but you don't have to, just listen and you'll be good. So, but most of her stuff was very interactive. She would have us like partaking in fake wars and like, sitting on our desks and pretending we're time traveling, just things like that. And it worked well for me. Like I learned so much. And then I would talk to other people and find out that they were learning nothing in that class. And I was like, this is the first time I've been able to understand history in a long time. So
isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had another class at the same time that was very reliant and dependent on notes and reading the textbook
And lecture.
and copying the things down. Nothing. I got nothing.
Yeah. Well, there's the different learning styles. Some people are visual learners. Some people are audible learners, I guess is the right word. And some people are kinesthetic, which means they have to actually be doing. That sounds like that's what you are. Probably. And there are different learning styles. I am a very visual learner. And so when my husband tries to give me directions to go somewhere while I'm driving and I'm on the phone with him and he's saying, oh, it's when you get to such and such, you're going to take a run. No, this does not do me any good. I keep saying, how long have we been married? Over 40 years. I am a visual learner. I have to see a map. And so I'm thankful that my phone plugs in and I can do the directions and Apple Play shows the map on the screen because that's the way I need to see it. I don't even, when it says take left at the next corner, I got to see it. Because left they may be saying left, but I may be thinking right.
Yeah. I agree
crazy.
with that. Yeah. And I have trouble sometimes following the map, the GPS, even with it on, especially some of them I find, I don't know if it's Google Maps, one of them is a little sluggish. So it's telling me to turn and I've already passed stuff up. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me this, 3 minutes ago, and so I've gotten where if I know I'm going somewhere unfamiliar and I pull it up on the map, I'll scroll through the whole map first to get an idea of what's going to happen so that I'm not at the last minute. Because, most of the time you can take a U-turn, but not always. There was one time I was going to a meeting with a friend of mine, and it was out of town from where we lived, and we had to go across this big bridge, and I missed the exit because I didn't understand the MapQuest directions because it was like exit such and such B, and I only saw A, but apparently A and B were on the same exit, and we got stuck in traffic on this bridge, and we missed the entire meeting.
Oh
Because by
my
the time we
gosh.
got across and turned around and come back, it was too late. So we went to dinner. We went to Western Sizzler. I don't know if that even exists anymore.
Well, that's good. At least you got something out of the trip.
Yeah. So my
Yeah,
learning style with maps is different. What's the point?
and I'm sure you're familiar, Press, with the lesson plan formats, but I don't know if they've changed over the years since you graduated. But when I was in grad school, I had to do lesson plan formats and or lesson plans, and the format always included like sections of differentiation where, well, you have to differentiate for students that have different needs, right? So if you have somebody that's ADHD or somebody that's maybe visually impaired or hearing impaired. I don't think that's the right word anymore, but isn't able in those ways. You have to plan specifically how will you address it. So obviously, if you have a person who is not able to see things, you have to have some type of extra direction for them audibly, and just the opposite. And then there's also how are you going to give specific learning for these different types of learners, these visual learners as opposed to kinesthetic learners and all. And I found it very interesting. It forced me as a potential teacher to think about different ways that I would teach things. And I do trainings and all now, and I try to incorporate different types of learning into the training where we're interacting a lot, and also touching on all the different learning styles too. So very interesting. It was good. Good hot sauce. Well, Sunday, today, that is the day that this podcast goes live, is September 15th, and it's National Online Learning Day. And so today we're just going to chat about online learning and talk about some of our experiences with it. National Online Learning Day celebrates the transformative power of digital education, highlighting the accessibility and flexibility of online platforms and underscoring the continuous evolution of education, bringing geographical gaps and providing lifelong learning opportunities. That's from the National Online Learning Day page of the Human Resources Services website. And so I thought that was interesting. But we have a couple of other websites that we'll share with you. But let's just talk about our experiences. Priscilla, have you had any experience with online learning? Are you, Clover?
I've done a couple of things online that were actually, you and I graduated a long time ago. Well, you did some more stuff more recently because you continued with getting more degrees. I haven't done any school since the 90s. So online learning back then was not really a thing. I mean, we used Word Perfect and to type papers, and that was about it. The internet was still fairly new and just used for email. But we we get to use stuff randomly. Like when I was teaching Zumba, I did three different online Zumba courses to learn different dance rhythms and stuff. And there was another one I did that was for learning, it was just like advanced teaching tips for teaching Zumba. And so like there was videos to watch, and then you would take a little quiz after the video to make sure you learned it, learned what you were supposed to learn from the video. And then at the end you got a little badge to put on your website, to say I did this learning course. So I learned about how to work out your glutes, and I learned about how to work out your abs. And I learned Indian rhythms and African rhythms, and I did the advanced teaching course. But I did those for Zumba, and then I've also done online CPR training, which you would think that doesn't sound very practical, but you do have to go in for a practical exam to get your card. And so I've done that, and I think there might be some actually that you can get your certification online, but only if you already had a previous card. It's just like a brush up. But one of the first ones, CPR classes I did the class, like the educational portion online, and then I went to the hospital and blew into the mouth of a dummy and gave it compressions. So those are all handy. It saves a lot of time because you don't have to leave the house.
Yeah.
And it's saves gas. And you can take your time with it too most of the time, because if you're a person who needs a lot of time to absorb stuff, because that's one thing for me. A lot of times people will say stuff to me and I say what, and I heard them, but it takes me time to decipher what was said and like process it. And it's just like a little delay, and so I struggled with that when I was in school, because the teacher would just be going and I'm still back trying to figure out what they said in the first 5 minutes.
That's why I almost failed stats.
Yeah, so I think that's why I got a D in stats. So
that's funny, because I always think that y'all have the same kind of functioning brain, and for some reason statistics was the easiest class I took in undergrad. I couldn't even explain it to other people, but for me it clicked, and I got an A on every paper and on every assignment. But I also am good in math in general, and so that might have been helpful.
You alpha theta.
Yes. What about you, Clover? What experience have you had with online learning?
What experience do I have? All of COVID.
Yeah. There for quarantine, I was what's it called? I did in person and online. So every other day I would go in, and then they changed it so that
I didn't remember that.
It was only for like 2 weeks, and then they changed the rules so that you had to be either always online or always in person, and then I was always in person. But for like the 2 weeks that I was I can't think of the word. Hybrid. That's what it is. For the 2 weeks that I was hybrid, it was honestly a little stressful. I was very thankful for the Google Meet to have subtitles. And they weren't always right, but I could kind of tell what they were trying to say.
Sure.
It's like the same thing that Mom was saying with like the hearing delay, like it helped with that. But sometimes, oh my goodness, sometimes it was so like just incredibly difficult to pay attention. Like you're in your own room, which is like a place you can relax. And you're sitting there trying to listen to a teacher who isn't even there talk about something on a paper that you don't even have. And it's just like, okay, I'll just sit here and listen, I guess.
And if you're not an auditory learner, which we know from previous conversations that you're not, that's not conducive to your learning.
And that's different too, because that's a virtual classroom as opposed to self-paced or whatever they call
Yeah.
it, self-driven.
Like we would always like more recently now that the kind of they banned Google Meet for some reason. So now that that happened, we can't really have like the virtual learning thing. So we have to do asynchronous whenever they want to do that. So, which is much more my speed. And they basically, the teachers will just put the assignment online and they'll be like, hey, complete the attendance, by whatever time the class is supposed to end. And I know that you were there, or by the end of the day. Different teachers are different. You say like by the end of the class or by the end of the day, complete this assignment. So usually what I'll do is I'll be like, okay, well, this teacher wanted it by the end of the class, so I'll do that one first. This teacher wanted it by the end of the day, so I'll wait to do that, even if it was like the first period and then the second period wanted it by the end, So it's much easier for me because then I can just like get up and go to the bathroom and get a snack whenever I want, and I don't have to sit there and wait.
Yeah.
I find it much easier.
Yeah.
Also, there's this, I'm sorry, I always have to tell the story when I talk about virtual learning because it infuriates me. I had a teacher who, on the first day of class, like there was a little spot for the Google Meet link in the Google Classroom. And all you had to do was hit like add link, put the link in there, and it would be on the side of the chat, right? Forever. But this teacher created an assignment, did not put it in the assignment, put it in a comment under the assignment, which you don't see when you're just looking at the assignments. Put it in a comment under the assignment. Took me about 30 minutes to find it. So I was late to class. And then when I came in, she was like, why are you late? And I was just like, and she was like, just don't do it again. I was like, okay, great. Thank you. Good to know.
Oh my gosh, that's frustrating. Well, it's different kinds as you've alluded to, there's different kinds of online learning because there's online learning where you're actually seeing the teacher and interacting with them, or there's online learning where you're maybe watching videos and then doing assignments. There's online learning where you are able to actually interact with your classmates, like in Google Classroom, I guess was like that. And or on Zoom. Livia did her classes on Zoom. Interestingly enough, when COVID happened with Liv, she was going to UNO, the University of New Orleans. And so they shifted to an online platform for most of her classes. She was taking some art classes that she had to go to the art studio on campus to work on painting and things like that. But they would do check-ins via Zoom. And so she would meet one-on-one with her professor and do check-ins. And I noticed that a lot of the teachers didn't want to go back to classroom learning. They liked the convenience of online learning. I did my master's through Concordia, Portland, and it was an online platform. And so there was and I know a lot of other universities are the same with their online platforms, tutoring other college students. I've looked at other platforms, and the one I'm thinking of that was most similar to Concordia's was Grand Canyon University, but they had every day you had a prompt that you had to respond to. I think UNO's was very similar too, because AJ did some online classes at UNO. And so you had to respond to a prompt every day, and that's how the teacher kept you interactive. And you interacted with your classmates, but it was strictly like in chat, like answering questions for each other and commenting on each other's posts and that sort of thing. And you were required to respond to at least 3 other students' posts. And so they kept you involved in that way, but it was completely like hidden as far as we never actually were face to face with our teachers. We did a lot of emailing and messaging through the portal. it wasn't the same as like watching a video. But I remember the very first online class that I took was when I was in undergrad. And back then, there weren't really online virtual platforms that you could learn. But the way that worked was it was SharePoint. And so you could comment and all, but the teacher would post an assignment and then we were supposed to do the assignment and just email it to them. And that was considered online learning. And it was very difficult for me. I did not learn a lot at all because the instructions weren't ever clear. And I squeaked by and got through the class, and I remember they even mailed us DVDs to put in our computer or our DVD player to watch because that's how old school it was. There wasn't like a streaming platform or a YouTube channel you could click on. We actually had to put DVDs in a DVD player. So it's gotten so much better. And of course, the advantages to online learning are there. You don't have to leave your house. If you're somebody who has physical problems or physical disabilities, you can stay in your house and learn that way. Or if you are somebody that lives out in the country, provided you have good internet service, you can still learn. I was able to graduate from one college in Portland, Oregon, and another in Macon, Wisconsin. So it does provide a lot of opportunities, online learning. And there's so many different avenues you can go to now, so many different platforms. We did kind of look at some of the top 10. Priscilla, you want to share some of them?
This is from the best online learning services for 2024 from pcmag.com. They looked at different the different top picks in online learning. And so they say the best for inspiration is Masterclass, which I've been getting really interested in because everybody, like people, celebrities and stuff, and not just celebrities, but people who are the tops in their field all have classes on Masterclass. And I thought, oh, it's expensive because you have to have a subscription. But then I was looking at it last night and it's only like $130 or something a year, I think.
120, I think. Yeah. Which is only what, $10 a month?
Yeah. And you have unlimited access. So you could take an acting class from Amy Poehler, and then you could go from one of the top chefs, you could go take one of their cooking classes. You can take as many classes as you want. Now, you don't get any kind of certification, any kind of credit for it. It's just to actually have the learning. You can't
enrich your mind.
And I guess you could put on your resume and say, hey, I did this master class, but it might not get you as much clout, say, as, having paid for a class at a university or whatever. But it still looks really cool and interesting. And I see those pop up and I go, ooh, that looks like a good one. So I'm really tempted. Maybe everybody will buy each other masterclass subscriptions for Christmas this year.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing because think about it. I mean, $10 a month, you pay more than that for Amazon Prime or for Netflix and if you could go and learn all kinds of stuff.
Almost twice that for Netflix now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could learn something. Whoops. I have lost my page. Okay. And then the next one they have is the best for free academic learning is Khan Academy. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Khan Academy, but I guess they give them a 4.5 outstanding rating. It's free. You don't need to have an account, and there's video lectures, readings, and quizzes, test prep, stuff like that. It caters to the U.S. education system specifically. So if you're not here in the United States, it won't really work for you. But they don't have all subjects, like they don't have foreign language, music, any of the arts, I don't think, but your maths and your sciences and stuff like that. That's really helpful. And they do have some language support if you are not an English speaker, but you live in the US. So that's really cool. Good for the kids, and stuff like that. The next one they have on there is Coursera. That is the one they list as their best free access to university courses. And they get a 4.0, excellent. Four stars. They offer real courses from universities for free. Again, I don't think you get any kind of degree or certification from it, but you can do the learning. And they partner with private corporations for job specific skills, which is cool. So if you were trying to get a job somewhere, or you are up for a promotion at work, and they might be able to say to you, if you take this course on Coursera, you're more likely to get promoted or whatnot. So that's really cool. And they do have some certification available, but those are paid, and I guess they're reasonably priced. So that's cool. They did say their interface is somewhat dated in certain areas. So I guess that's why they don't get 5 stars. So that's the first 3. I'm scrolling up and down.
That's okay.
The next one they have that's best for quizzes and games is Kahoot. And I know the kids love Kahoot.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, Clover, why don't you tell us about Kahoot?
Oh, I love Kahoot. Okay. So you can make any kind of account you want. You can make like a teacher account, a student account, like a personal account. So it's not even just for like educational stuff. You can make random quizzes. I love Kahoot. And it's all free.
And is it geared toward a certain age group, Clover?
It is like, it's most commonly used in like schools today for like fun game days for like so oftentimes the way that my teachers have used it is, say we're taking a test like later that day or the next day. Usually the teachers will like put all like as much information into a Kahoot as they can, or most of the time you can find one that's already made for the exact lesson plan you're on. And you just like have your kids play it, and it is like, a question comes up on the board. It gives you 4 options. You can put a picture up, however you want to format the question. There's different kinds of formats. There's like true or false. There's 4 like multiple choice. Sometimes there's a written response. Literally any kind of question you could think of. And sometimes, depending on what kind of account you have, you do have to pay for like a premium, I think, which gives you different options. But that's a newer thing, so I don't know about that. Because capitalism. But you can do different stuff, and it helps you learn really fast. And a lot of the time kids just like memorize the stuff, but it does help memorize faster. So it's very quick and handy, and it's so fun. And the music is iconic. Like, so it's most common among like the Gen Z demographic and a little bit of the older like Gen Alpha, because we kind of grew up with it. So like there's a couple kids in like, I want to say like the college group right now, and maybe a couple of years older were like the farthest, like the newest kids that got Kahoot. So a lot of like young adults are using it in their personal lives to like quiz their friends and families like on themselves, like at their birthdays and stuff. So it's really not even just for education, but it's most common for education.
That's pretty cool.
Neat. I knew you would have something to say about that one.
So a lot of the time, like, it'll give you like your top 3. Like when you finish a game, it'll play like this triumphant music, and then it'll show you your 3rd place, your 2nd place, and your 1st place, and it's a little confetti. And when you finish, it'll like show your score and like your place number and who you're behind. And
I love
a lot
that
of the time
kind of
teachers
stuff.
will give prizes to the top 3.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of cool. You know, sometimes they have these platforms that aren't necessarily to educate you, but they support the education. So, like when Liv was in school at one of her schools, the art teacher got all the kids signed up on this art website. I don't remember the name of it, but the teacher would upload the kids' artwork and then the parents could share it like on social media and people could comment on the kids' artwork. And it was all very safe. Um, you had to like register to be able to comment and everything, but it was pretty cool. I don't remember the name of it. And you could order like if you wanted your child's artwork on a coffee cup or a t-shirt. We did that with a couple of Liv's things. In fact, mom was constantly buying stuff from that website with Livia's artwork on it and giving it to us as a little treat. It was kind of cool. I love that kind of stuff.
Tina, the next one's up your alley, I think. I think you're familiar. I think you mentioned this one a few minutes ago, is Skillshare. That's the one you were talking about, right?
No, actually, I'm not familiar with that.
No? Oh, you must have said something that sounded like that.
Couple ads of Skillshare, but I'm not completely sure what it is.
Well, they have the best for creative learning practical skills is Skillshare. And they have that you have to pay a monthly fee, but they have on this article, they have an ad for 40% off a 12-month premium plan plus 1 month free.
Oh, wow.
And I guess the normal price is $167 a year and 88 cents, something like that. But so I guess you'd have to really be getting a lot out of it, you know, because that's a little pricey. But they give it a 4-star, 4 dots, excellent score. The pros are there's varied content topics all suited to creative types. So this is less of that, you know, the STEM stuff and more of the steamy stuff. That doesn't sound right.
What are people putting on Skillshare?
Yeah, right. No, but it's optional assignments and community interaction. And there are some free courses, and the cons are feedback from other learners is rarely insightful or instructional. No guarantee instructors participate in the community features. So I guess it just depends. You have to find good instructors on there and whatnot. I'm checking to see if there's some more.
So I just did the math. And if you get this 40% discount, plus you get an extra month for free, it comes out to like $7.75 a month. So it's not bad with the discount at all.
Yeah.
$7.75
You just wanted to do it for get the first year.
I'm wondering if you could like sign up for a trial just to check, because there's so many different ones, right? You could sign up for a trial version to see.
It seems like it would be a big investment if you didn't really know if you were going to be able to use it. So hopefully they have some kind of probationary thing.
Yeah, like a free account that gives you limited access until you're ready to go
so you
premium.
can see what the real potential is. But they say it's for people who want to develop creative skills or need help learning the ins and outs of running creative businesses. So it's really good for people with drawing, painting, digital art, photography, cooking, writing, sewing, and other crafts. One aspect of Skillshare that they appreciate is that it does have some short courses or lessons within courses that you can complete as a one-off. For example, if you just want to practice drawing cacti for 5 minutes, you can go watch a video on that. So that sounds pretty cool. I don't know why I thought you had said something about Skillshare. Maybe you said something else that started with an S. And I was looking through the list and I'm realizing there's only 9. I thought it was 10, but there's only 9, unless I counted wrong. But the next one is the
there's
best
only
one.
8. Oh no, there's 9. You're right.
The best for programming and vocational skills is called Udacity. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that.
Yeah.
and Udacity, they give an excellent score. The pros are focused on special job skill development, especially programming and computer science. Nano degree learners come away with relevant work samples, and self-service cancellation, data download, and account deletion, which is convenient if you get all you can out of it and you want to cancel. The cons are it's expensive. I don't see where they say, I'm trying to find if they don't say how much it is. So I guess it depends on, there's probably multiple different kinds of accounts, but it says it's expensive, difficult to measure the value for job seekers, and less inspirational and motivational than other sites, but it must be worth something that it made the list. So I guess if you're, a computer programmer or something.
It did say some courses were free.
So I guess you might have to have a membership and then pay per course, which might be what makes it expensive. But if there's free ones, I guess that could be a benefit if it's the ones you need. The next one, I'm scrolling. The next one is Wondrium. Wondrium. It says that one's the best for curious minds. They do have a free trial. They get an excellent accessibility options, TV quality, production value. Nice.
Wow. Nice.
That and a variety of content. And they said there's no free account or content, but and the prices are somewhat high, but there is a free trial. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
That's good. And it says it's the best way to describe Wondrium is to call it couchside edutainment. It's not geared toward teaching you hands-on skills or helping you achieve specific learning goals, though it does have some skill-focused classes. Instead, Wondrium feeds your curiosity with videos that explore ideas that perhaps you know nothing about. In that sense, it's wonderful for beginners or people who don't have any prior knowledge to the subjects that they cover. So
it basically sounds like another version of How It's Made.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. The next one is the best for business skills, and that is LinkedIn Learning. I don't know if you've used that at all.
No, I've heard a lot about it, but I have not used it.
And LinkedIn Learning gets a good score, 3.5, which is, I guess, just enough to make the list because they're close to the bottom. But they do have a wide range of learning courses with plenty related to business. And it's great for specific hard skills such as software training, and they have high production quality. The cons are many videos have overly corporate tone and confusing classes categorization.
Just sounds like college.
That was hard to say. So those are the pros and cons of that one. And we have, I think, one more. Yes. Wait.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused because it sounds very much like the other one. Udemy.
Not Udacity, but
not Udacity, but
like I guess
Academy,
like Academy, but
right.
Yeah. Although they have that little caret symbol above the U, so maybe it's pronounced Udemy.
I don't know. Maybe.
Not this me, but the Udemy.
Yeah, because wouldn't it be an umlaut if it was Udemy?
I would think so.
I don't know. Udemy. That just sounds funny. I don't know. Otherwise, it's kind of also sound like Udemy, which means help me in Spanish.
At any rate, it's Udemy is how you spell it.
And it's free, I believe. It looks like it is free. Or I guess there's some free possibilities with it.
Yeah.
They rate this as the best for taking one-off courses. They get a 3.5 good. They are great for learning courses that are hard and soft professional skills. So,
and you don't really like get a subscription. You basically get what you can for free, but there's also paid classes, but you pay per class. So
yeah, that's what it looks like. Interesting array of content, clear resources for instructors. The cons are no subscription for individuals. The pricing is per class, which that could be a pro or a con, because if you know, it's the same thing as with purchasing your health insurance. If you want to be able to cherry pick things, that could be a really good thing for you if you don't want to have a subscription. So some people don't want to have a subscription. So this would actually be really good for some people if it has the right courses. Price for business accounts is somewhat high with a minimum of 5 people. So I guess a company, a corporation or whatever could purchase sort of a membership for their folks to get online for free and do a certain amount of coursework. And I'm thinking that they probably, since they said soft and hard options, they're probably everything from, you know, typing practice courses all the way up, you know, learning Excel, things like that, probably. It says it's for people with business subscriptions to the site who can simply explore what it has to offer, or people who are interested in specific courses, or instructors who want to host and sell their courses on Udemy. It says we didn't do detailed testing or analysis for the third use case, instead focusing on it from the learner's perspective. They picked it because it sells discrete video courses on an array of topics.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I don't know why it needs to be discrete.
Well, there's one that they didn't list, and I'm familiar with it. I actually had to get certified in. Well, I didn't have to, but I had the opportunity to get certified in it for free. And so I went through the certification program for it, and it's called IXL. And it's geared toward K to 12 students and has a curriculum with individual guidance. And you can actually go in there and look at how the lessons correspond to the core curriculum at which most schools are using. And a lot of people have a negative attitude of the core curriculum, but when I was in grad school, what I learned basically was that it was just a name that they put to a curriculum that became standardized across school systems, where people had these ideas that it was this concept and really radical learning. And I never got that out of it at all. Maybe I was missing something, but I actually appreciated the core curriculum, because if you're somebody like in the military that your kids are bouncing from one school to another, core curriculum kind of standardized everything across the board from state to state. And so it meant that a third grade learner in one state was learning the same things as a third grade learner in another state. And so I appreciated it for that reason. But IXL is you have to get recertified in it every year as a teacher on IXL. I did not recertify because I don't have a lot of students that are K to 12. I mostly work with college students when I tutor. But it is kind of cool in that you, as a teacher, you could assign IXL lessons to your students, and they could log in with a student account and actually work through quizzes and exercises to help them grow in specific areas that they were struggling with. So if you're a tutor and you're working with a student who's just struggling with fractions or struggling with long division or whatever, you could assign some practice things to your student, and then you would get the results to see how they were doing. And if they were struggling in a certain area, you could coordinate with the student online through Wisant, which is the platform that I tutor on, to say, okay, you need work in this area. Let's walk through it and see what the problems are. And then so there's that combination of direct instruction versus self study. And so I thought that was really interesting. I was a little surprised it didn't pop up in any of the searches for online learning, but maybe because it's strictly K to 12. But I just thought that was a really good one. I didn't use it as much as I would have liked to, but it was kind of cool to learn about it and to experiment with it.
Hmm.
And you
Cool.
can learn more about that at ixl.com. But yeah, as somebody who preaches intentional living, I'll just say that finding the right platform and all is great, but you have to, as a person wanting to grow, you have to be intentional about it. Figure out what the gap is. What is it that I want to know? And what is it that I already know? And then where's the gap? How do I build on that gap? And then talk to people that you know or proficient in those gap areas for you and say, how did you learn? And find out the best way to learn. But there are definitely opportunities for online learning that can help you bridge that gap. And I recommend it highly, but you got to do what works for you. It's like Clover said, some instruction is not good for certain people. And so you have to figure out what works best for you. If sitting in a classroom is what works best for you, then online learning may not be the thing. But there are a lot of interactive online learning opportunities. Even if you don't sign up for any of the platforms we talked about, you can go look at videos on YouTube and learn a lot.
Now, remember what we said about libraries? There's lots of stuff through your local library that you can access for free for online learning. And you might be able to find links for some of these on there too.
Yeah, good
You know.
stuff. The world is all out there on the World Wide Web, and we can access all this great stuff. We're really blessed to be a generation that gets to experience that.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I know my school does it, and but a lot of other like high schools for kids, they offer like courses through colleges. So like our school does a lot of dual enrollment courses. So like I took like a biology and a math class, and this year I'm taking a theater class and my another science class, like all through other colleges, like online. And so far all of them have been like, okay, there's an instructor who's online and posting all the stuff, and then I have a teacher who's actually teaching the stuff. But coming up with my new environmental science class, it's just going to be the online. So I'm gonna have to see how that works. But I know that the schools also offer like self
Guided.
yeah, like self-guided things. There's a professional name for it, but I can't think about it. But you basically just take the course yourself.
Like
You go
independent
from
study. Yeah.
independent study. That is it. That
Yeah.
is. But a lot of kids, like I was hearing about it, like they just did the course over the summer and finished it like in a couple weeks, and then we're done with it.
Yeah, I love the self-paced ones. There were some self-paced independent study opportunities when I was in college, but it was not the same because it wasn't online. But yeah, I think those are wonderful because if you're somebody that doesn't have the time to commit to it, but you still want to do it, those are great. Yeah. And we had talked about the dual enrollment thing back when we did our CTE episode, which was really interesting. I mean, the opportunities that high school students get now are to get that college credit while they're still in high school is just amazing.
I didn't
What?
even know that we did the self-study until this year. And I found out from like other kids and other teachers that like I'm taking a digital media class, and it's not even a DE class. Like it doesn't go through a college or anything. But there were some kids who independent studied the class over the summer just because they could. And I didn't even know that was an option, you know, like, so it really all depends. Like, you got to ask the school. Like, it,
Yeah, you would think that communication is key, and some schools are good about communicating certain things and not others, and some are just bad in communication overall. But yeah, seems like the opportunities need to be just more communicated.
Mm.
Well, that was a good topic. I'm excited to hear from our listeners what they are going to do with Online Learning Day, if they're going to be motivated. I did talk to one of our listeners the other day who said, I need to go back and listen to your personal growth episode because I really want to grow in certain areas. And we chatted about it a little bit, but I told them to go back and listen to the episode. But yeah, online classes is a great way to grow. Well, Clover, do you have any sweet and sour sauce that you would like to offer today?
maybe. Um, so
This is a critique, huh?
yeah, I know earlier we were talking about the online learning courses and Mom brought up Khan Academy. I have some things to say about Khan Academy.
Some cons?
I have some cons. Okay. This is sour sauce today.
Uh-oh.
So all of the experience that I have with Khan Academy is when other teachers are like, they need to explain something extra because people in the class just aren't getting it for some reason. Me. And they're like, okay, well, I've taught all I can, and I need to assign you something that can explain it to you probably better than I could. So they find a Khan Academy video to give us. And they'll assign the video, and they'll give us some questions based on things in the video. And then I think that there's a feature on Khan Academy's website where you can see who watched the video all the way through. Annoying. You can also see if they sped it up. Aggravating. I'm pretty sure that's there, unless I'm mixing up websites. But basically, in my experience, Khan Academy is so incredibly boring. Every time I watch a video, it's always the same guy in the same monotone tone. And he like, they're always either like writing on a screen with a laser, or they're on a whiteboard writing. Every single time, it is so boring and incredibly difficult to follow, and they're always talking so slow, and I want to speed up the video, but I know that if I speed up the video, the teacher will know, and they won't be like, they'll be mad at me because, I mean, they probably won't be mad at me, but like that, you know, the little voice in my head that's like, oh, they won't want you to do that. And then you have to answer the questions. And a lot of the time, the questions are about random things that the person would say like offhand, not even about the problem that they're doing. And most of the time, the Khan Academy videos I watch are for math or for science. So oftentimes it's for like equations. I hate it. And obviously, you know, like different learning styles, you know, that could work for some people. But every person that I talk to hates Khan Academy. I've never met one person who wasn't already incredibly smart that liked Khan Academy.
Interesting.
Just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I'm sure it works.
interesting. I'm with you though. When somebody talks really slow, my brain doesn't like that. And I'm like, spit it out, man. Come on. Just tell me what you're going to tell me. Just why are you talking so slow? I love that you can speed up. I'm constantly pressing my thumb on the screen for YouTube or TikTok to just get to the point because you're telling me a whole bunch of stuff I don't need to know. Get to the point.
Yeah. No, like I have to watch these Photoshop videos for my digital media class. And they're like the interactive things, like he's showing you how to do it. And he's like, download this image, do this and that. But he just he's yapping all the time. So I'll hit the settings button and I have to put it on like 1.75 speed just to get to the point. You know? And yeah, I have to pause it and rewind it sometimes, but that's because like everything he's doing is on a screen where the buttons are this small. And, you know, he'll click it and I'm like, wait. And he always shows, it's so aggravating. He's always like showing us the things that we don't need to know. Like he's already taught us. So like he'll be like, okay, now hit like Control O to open a new thing. And I'm like, yes, we know how to do that. We've been know how to do that. And then he'll just like speed through a thing he's never done before. And it's like, slow down. So that's my issue with online learning.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
for sharing that.
True confession for the audience. I like to play our videos at double speed because our laughter sounds really cute.
Like we've been sucking in helium, huh?
Yeah. Sound like chipmunks. It's kind of fun.
That's how they recorded most of the audio for Alvin and the Chipmunks. Was they just had like 3 dudes sing really slow. Have you heard the unsped audio? It's creepy.
Fun facts. Tina, do you have some marinade for us to marinate in? I know you
do. What y'all can marinate on, and all of our listeners can marinate on, is another Instagram or TikTok video that we saw where there was a professor teaching his class, and he held up a pair of sunglasses and encouraged his class, one young lady in particular, to say something really good about the sunglasses and then something really bad about the sunglasses. And each time he said, did anything change about the sunglasses after you said all these bad things? And she said, no. Okay, well then say something good. And she said good stuff about the sunglasses. Did anything change about the sunglasses? No, nothing changed. And so his point was that other people's reactions to us and their critiques of us will not change us unless we let it. And so we need to just take those critiques for what they are and don't let it affect how we are. It won't change us if we don't let it. And the sunglasses obviously didn't let the compliments or the negative things change them. And so we can be like sunglasses. That's what I get out of it. We can be reflective.
like sunglasses.
We can just be reflective of those comments, but not let them change us.
Ooh.
You like that?
Step deeper.
Huh? Mind blown.
Mind.
This is good stuff. It's motivated me. I think I want to go take an online class. No, not really.
I wouldn't mind taking some online classes.
Let's go
I'm
learn
tempted.
from Amy Poehler.
Yeah, I'd love to learn from Amy Poehler.
I would too. I really would. When
So
you were talking about that masterclass thing, I was like, I wonder if Brene Brown does
Oh,
a masterclass.
I would love to take a master class from Brene Brown.
Me
Do you
too.
think they have decorating classes?
Probably.
Oh, that would be cool. I can tell you, Clover, that when I was in college, though, I majored in interior design for the first 2 or 3 semesters. And oh my goodness, the classes were nowhere near as fun as just doing it. Learn.
That's
I
all
took
about, like,
textiles. I took architectural design. I took history of furniture, where we looked at, you talk about boring, is sitting in a classroom after you ate lunch, looking at various slides of furniture throughout the ages and having the teacher explain what the influence of the furniture design is. Nah, not my thing. It was everything I could do to stay awake.
I don't think good. I don't
Huh?
think good. It does sound interesting, but
Yeah. And the textiles, I think I got an A in textiles, and I didn't even know how I did it because it was like we had to learn about all these different materials. And so then for the test, for the final exam, she passed out like swatches of materials, and you had to feel it and write down everything you knew about it, what blend it was, what characteristics, like was it waterproof or in, woven or sealed or whatever the words were. I don't even remember anymore. But yeah, it's, I didn't care for the classes. And so it was when I decided to change my major because I thought, if I hate the classes this much, am I really going to enjoy the career? And so I decided not to do it. I did like interior design one, which was where we had to design our own space. And I designed a studio apartment with a platform bed, and that was on like a circular thing, and it was really cool. But I had fun with that and picked my own swatches and paint color and all and flooring. That was kind of fun. I love
You're
designing,
good at
but
that. You're really good at it.
well, I think I have a good eye. I don't know what I'm doing, but I do have a good eye for design. I love that kind of stuff.
That's
On a
why.
budget too. I love designing on a budget. Give me that bed in a bag for $35. Yep, that's me. Well, this has been great. And thank you, Clover, for being with us today. Off school for the hurricane. We're thankful that you were off today.
Yeah.
And to our listeners, we'll be back next week with something great. I'm sure. This was episode 57. No, 47.
Woo!
I'm jumping
Jumped ahead.
ahead. Episode 47, but we'll see you for episode 48. And until then, make yourself a priority.
And take care of you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.